Hi folks, and welcome to episode 2 of In Your House podcast. Now, we apologise for it being such a long time since episode 1, but there is reasons for that. Obviously, Jason's busy, we're all busy. In the world of education, mate, going into towards June time is the time when everybody's obviously getting things finished. So that's my excuse, mate. Simmy isn't here this evening, and neither is the main man, Bazbowski, either. So it's just us two, mate, but I'm sure we can cope with that. So, first of all, welcome back to the podcast, Jason Reid, ICW superstar.
Buzzing to be back, mate. It's been far too long, but like you said, been a bit of a challenge getting us all in the green at the same time. But we're here, we're back, we're ready to chat some wrestling, and we've got loads to talk about, haven't we?
Oh, there's loads to talk about, mate. In fact, you used to get an applause. There's been loads to talk about. Just don't let everybody know there's a crowd in, right? And social distancing and all that. There's been loads to talk about, mate. Obviously, the first podcast we done was basically ending up a look back on WrestleMania, if you like.
That's how long ago it was, man. WrestleMania.
It's mad. You think it's happened since then? I mean, we've lost people and everything in the wrestling world. You know, Braun Strowman's gone.
Oh, no.
It's been chaos. But well, I can't say our pal because he's not my pal, but he's technically your pal. Big Drew, he's had a couple of goes at the title. He's now banished for it, technically, as long as Big Bobby's got it. So what's your thoughts on Drew, mate, and where he's at? Because obviously we know Drew's involved in this decision making, obviously. So what's your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, he's great, man, right? We know how good he is. He's now at that level where, you know, certified main eventer. You know, you pop him anywhere in that main event slot and he's flying, he's knocking it out of the park, you know, regardless of who it's with. I mean, I think everyone kind of thought, and we obviously touched on it in the last podcast, everyone thought he was going to win it again at WrestleMania with the fans. Did he deserve to? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think he won't be back, and do I think he'll get another chance at the title? Yep, absolutely. I think he will. So yeah, time will tell. I think it's a case of watch this space. You know, there's a lot of big events coming up. The crowds are coming back. They're touring again. SummerSlam, biggest part of the summer, Las Vegas on a Saturday night, sold out crowd. Who knows what's going to happen, man? It's exciting times, and yeah, I can't wait to see what they do. But it's going to be good.
Right. So before we get really into it, we're obviously live. Well, we're not live. We're recording in our brand new studio, which we are calling In Your House Podcast HQ, right? But obviously, it is through our new partners, G4 Claims, and we thank them for allowing them to use this space. G4 Claims, their website is not at faultclaim.com. The phone number, I'll put it all on the screen and whatever, and I'll tweet the links to it and stuff, and we'll get G4 and Claims involved in this as well. Maybe even try and get a wrestler in one day. I know we do have one, but another one for us to talk to.
Well, I think there's a few wrestlers that might be willing to come on, man.
Good. Spoilers.
No spoilers on this show.
So we're talking about Drew McIntyre. Obviously, we said he's banished as long as Bobby's got it. However, he has managed to work his way back into the Money in the Bank match, which is coming up 3 weeks' time.
Exactly.
He'd done that on Raw on Monday night. My problem sometimes, right, and I don't want to criticise WWE, right, because I love them, I have done all my life, right, but my problem sometimes is they don't, they hand out opportunities to people, yes, but I don't feel as though they at times they use people to their full potential, right, is what I'm trying to say, right. Now, that's just my opinion. It's not the opinion of the podcast, not the opinion of Jason, obviously, it's just my opinion. Where I think Money in the Bank allows them a kind of free hit, if you like, is that they can have a wild card who can maybe bridge that gap and get into the main event kind of arena.
Definitely.
I don't know your thoughts on that, because, again, this is getting into totally different. It's grown arms and legs in this question, but I'm not a fan either of matches when we were Wayne's Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank, them now being their own pay-per-view, right? I personally, again, in my opinion, I don't like that. However, I suppose this is where it could be done at WrestleMania, like it used to be Money in the Bank, but I suppose this is the event where it gives somebody that opportunity.
Oh, it does, man. It does. And even if we go back to when we were watching it, when we were wee, it was always that. I see when we were wee. Money in the Bank's not been about that long. But, you know, a few years ago or whatever, it was always the like, even when it was part of WrestleMania, like I know for a fact I always looked forward to the Money in the Bank because it was exciting, right? And it was different. And it had its own unique selling point, so much so that they probably moved it to its own pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And even the ones, if you think back to like 2011, 12 or whatever, when they first started to have their own, have it as a pay-per-view, man, the shows were absolutely wild. You know, they were so good. So, you know, I'm all for it. I mean, I think you can brand, you know, any pay-per-view and have any unique selling point. If you've got the guys on there and you've got the right storylines and the right ins and outs, it's going to be good regardless, you know. But yeah, the Money in the Bank's exciting because you can't really predict it. You have these guys in here who have been on a high or been on a roll for months, but then you could have, like you say, the wild card that comes in and nicks out of nowhere, and that's why it's so exciting. So, I mean, I'm for one looking forward to it. Are they going to have fans back at this one?
I think there is fans back at this one because it's 3 weeks' time, isn't it? And it's 17th of July. So I think that is.
Yeah, I think there's reduced crowd, right? So
I think SmackDown's before it is the first.
Yeah, the first show on the road. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting, man. I really can't wait. I can't call it.
I know that's the thing.
I can't call it, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Who I've been impressed with is Riddle, right?
Yeah.
And his whole persona, I think, is great, right? And his whole with Randy Orton, obviously, who you've said numerous times that he is for you the man. And Randy is, and the whole thing, like even in Raw the other night there, where he's trying to win Randy's place back in Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And he wins the Battle Royal, and then he goes and really he was beaten through and AJ Styles, and then Big Omos get involved and ruined it, and he took a Claymore, and that was it. But what's your thoughts on Riddle? Because he can be I remember when I first seen him, I thought, so now one of these gimmick characters that's just going to fade away. But seeing fairness to him, he's took it, ran with it, and made it work.
Man, the guy can work. He's a worker. And you know what? You know what's exciting for me? He's formed this alliance with Randy Orton. Randy Orton, you know, the one who has a short fuse, can flip at any time, and you put him together with a guy who is mega chill, calls everyone bro, and cuts about on a scooter. Like, it's just good. And we all know that Orton could and probably will flip at any point.
Yeah.
So part of us we're probably just waiting to see what happens with that, which is exciting. But it's fun, you know, it's different, it's fun, it gives us something else, something new to watch. And yeah, I mean, I'm invested in it. I don't know about you, but I look forward to it. And it's one of those ones you just don't really know where it's going to go. You know, there's I think there's so many probably storylines and angles at the moment where you don't really know where it's going to go. It's exciting, it's different, and they're in this weird transition phase as well between leaving the empty arena shows and going into the live crowd run. So it's a weird transition phase that probably never ever had before. So that adds another element to it, another dimension. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to sit back and enjoy, man, because it's going to be some good months of WWE for sure.
Definitely. The thing is, when we've spoke to you about this on numerous occasions now, about the fans being there, you feed off that energy. The instinct comes into it as well, because you know you get the feedback for them, and it allows you to build a rapport between the fans, your opponent, and yourself. Obviously, I've never wrestled, mate, so I'm just assuming that's the case.
That is the case, man. That is the case. I tell you what, we had word of potential first show back with fans. You know, we're hoping to do it as soon as we can. Obviously, we had to cancel a few events recently and push them back, but there's talk of us getting it soon. And let me tell you, man, I just get so excited. Like, I get all pumped. I'm excited to hear the music, hear that boo, go out there and just see a sea full of fans and just think, you know, it's been so long, 14, 15, 16 months or something, and there's going to be fans in it. Yeah, it's going to be the same for the guys at WWE as well. Obviously, they had the WrestleMania, which was amazing, but it wasn't a full crowd, was it? So yeah, this is just going to be jam-packed. And that SummerSlam, I honestly would go as far as saying that SummerSlam could potentially even be bigger than WrestleMania.
Yeah. In this instance, in this occasion, I
yeah,
think so.
it will be, because, you know, Saturday night, Las Vegas, man, it's going to be absolutely jumping. Yeah, it's crazy. I actually looked at flights for SummerSlam because I was so excited. I was like, it's on a Saturday night, but obviously it's still on the amber list and stuff. And it's proven quite difficult and quite steep on the old coinage as well, believe it or not. So
checks venues to do a podcast in Las Vegas. Yeah. Nicole, can we make this work?
Yeah, exactly.
As you're saying with SummerSlam and that and everything kind of building towards that, they have this unique opportunity of like having kind of two WrestleManias, if you like, and two stages where they can really propel people into, and that's where I'm hoping, biased again with Drew, but that's where I'm hoping Drew comes into it again. Mm-hmm. And it's just, there's just so, as you said, there's just so many storylines going on now. And one thing, I've not really criticised them here, right, as I'm saying, but I've kind of stated my opinion. But one thing I would say is that nowadays, I don't fast forward as many matches, right? Because every single one of them, I think, has me gripped. And Raw's getting a lot of negative press at the minute. Uh-huh. But like the show the other night, I thought was brilliant. I thought the wrestling was brilliant, which is sometimes what they can be maybe accused of neglecting slightly and going for their promos and their ads and things like that. So I thought the wrestling on Monday night was absolutely brilliant, and it had me hooked all the way through. Yeah, and man, it must be such a challenge as well. Like I always try and compare it to something. Like I don't know if you've seen Breaking Bad. Yeah, you know the episode with the fly. Yeah, right. So for anyone that's no spoilers, but for anyone that's seen Breaking Bad, you know the episode. Basically, it's in the underground lab, and the whole of the episode is just about a fly, right? And it's down to the fact that the budget for that particular filming season or whatever was over, so they needed to this is going to make sense when we get here, trust me. And you're thinking like, what are we, how did we get to the fly and Breaking Bad on a wrestling podcast? But bear with me, okay, bear with me. So I'm now doubting myself. I'm like, this does make sense, doesn't it? So they had no option but to do this film and, for budget, right? So think of it like the same thing. The WWE has no option but to they can't film in front of fans. Yeah. They're constricted in terms of what they can do. And they've been doing that for 15, 16 months. So, unfortunately from time to time, there's going to be occasions where, it's maybe not as best as they would like to produce, or it's maybe not as great as it was 2-3 years ago, but come on, the circumstances have changed. They only have so much to work with. Yeah. And like that fly in Breaking Bad, there's only so much you can do, right? There's only so much the guys can do. Give them a break. That's my point. Leave the fly alone. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No, I think they're doing a brilliant job, and also where it's allowed them, obviously going back a couple of years, a year and a bit, but where it's allowed them to do more cinematic stuff as well, I think they've embraced that and been unique and went out there and put themselves out there and got the praise for it. Do you know what I mean? So I think they've done a tremendous job. I really do. Again, going out to obviously the Raw side, but going out to SmackDown, I seem to be enjoying SmackDown. I don't know if it's Roman Reigns, right? And I don't know if it's Roman Reigns' character. So good. What it is, Roman Reigns is owning it. Mm-hmm. And it's so just intriguing to watch. See the whole thing with the Mysterios, and I mean, see, obviously I'm not a kid anymore, right? So the kind of moments where you go, holy fuck. See when he chucked the both Mysterios out the ring, it was one of the holy fuck. Yeah, you're like, wow. And you know the thing is, right? The fans were pushing for WWE to turn Roman. So when he was like on top as a babyface, they were like, turn him. We don't like this. This is boring. You got to trust. Vince McMahon ultimately makes the decision, right? That man, hands down, has seen more wrestling matches than any other human being alive. There's no argument to that. He sits and watches every single match at a house show, a live event, pay-per-views, whatever, right? So he knows best. Yeah. And now that they've done it, how amazing is it? Oh, right? It's great. And you're just like, who is going to so he's going to beat the record that Lesnar has for the reign for the Universal title, hands down. And the question is, who's going to come back and take it off him? Is it going to be John Cena at SummerSlam? Because that's what I've heard. Aye. John Cena could be a little something there. And then we have to think about The Rock as well. Aye. Is The Rock maybe going to come back?
so many things can
Look at
happen.
the family angle there.
Right,
What's been
exactly.
running through it, and if The Rock get involved again, it can. That was a mistake, by the way. That wasn't meant to happen. Right.
The podcast doesn't want The Rock to be involved.
No. That's it, Rock.
Don't tell him.
Sorry, Rocky. That's you. You've got me. Aye, the family angle's there, obviously. So, we can only work with what we have here.
Amazing.
So that would be quite good. Cena coming back, doing it. I'm not his biggest fan, so I don't know if I would want that. But
John Cena?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Mate, Don't get me wrong, I think he's a lot better. Just before he kind of disappeared, I think he was better.
You don't badmouth John, okay?
I suppose he is the trailblazer, but I just can't.
I love John, man. When John Cena returns, I'm just gonna lose the proverbial shit.
I'll lose my shit.
I just love John Cena, man. I love him. Like I even went to watch Fast 9 at the cinema at the weekend there, and I knew he was in it because he was advertised everywhere. But when I see him, I was like, yes, go on, John. Go and join. And no spoilers, because I don't want to spoil it if anyone's not seen it and they're planning on going it. But there's a bit towards the end where how did I say this without
spoiling it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there might be a little turn in there somewhere. Anyway, that's what happens, and yeah, it's just great. I'm like, yes, because it's John Cena, man. I love him.
I don't know. If I want to see a superhero, I'll watch Marvel. But that's just my thought on him. But I'm old school, really. I want. I don't know. I'm just not a great John Cena fan. And by the way, I've watched. This is a side issue, but my missus is slightly into wrestling. She's getting more and more, and she says, "Put that thing on with the Bellas. It's on the network.
Total Bellas.
Yeah. So we watched that. Season. If anybody's not watched it, by the way, season 1, episode 1, Total Bell End. John Cena was in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it reinforced because he's not been in the wrestling for a while now, so it reinforced for me to go, I can't stick that, man. But then you begin to like him.
You do, right? You do
begin to like him, and that's the thing. That's what's still playing in my head. And then, obviously, don't even go into Daniel Bryan. I love the guy anyway, but he's incredible.
Pretty much sums up that argument. Yeah.
But on the SmackDown side of things, as we're getting to, even the female side of things, Bailey, who I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah,
I love Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
You're wondering when Sasha's going to come back at some point. I know obviously Sasha's busy, but you're wondering when Sasha's going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
But that there has got so much potential, especially leading to SummerSlam, to really create something even bigger than they've already been doing, to be fair, because they've Bailey and just I'm just a huge fan of Bailey.
Yeah, she's great, man. She really is great. Yeah, I think the last time we spoke, we were kind of surprised that she wasn't more involved at WrestleMania. But that's everyone wants to have the match at WrestleMania, but it's not a bad spot to the stuff she was doing. She had a lot of TV time and things. So if there wasn't anything going for her, then that's a suitable replacement in my eyes. It's good. But yeah, to your point, you just don't really know. There's so many moving parts in a good way, and there's just so many matches. Like if we were to take all the list of active names just now and come up with a card for SummerSlam, man, we would be here. There's just so many options, right? Yeah, exactly. It is a two-nighter. But yeah, I mean, this is it. It's just exciting, and yeah, I think we're kind of gearing towards SummerSlam. Money in the Bank first, but SummerSlam, and it's going to be great.
You can see the seeds have been planted though for SummerSlam for a lot. The seeds have been sown the new to get to there. That's the thing,
exactly,
which is important.
Yeah.
We had some questions, right, and I will get to some of the questions, right, because obviously we're trying to incorporate the people who watch. That in fact, Andrew is it Andrew Moore says Jason Reed Wrestling. At Jason Reed Wrestling is an absolute superstar in the making. He looks great and a fantastic wrestler.
Thanks for that, Andrew.
There you go, mate.
I appreciate that.
That's a wee bit hanging for you. Right, so this was a kind
serves the ego well. That was great. Get that right on the wall. Sort that tenner out for you later, mate.
George Burns has tweeted us saying, "Who is your favourite admittedly shite wrestler, past or present. That's quite harsh, right?
But this is what I could understand when I seen the question, right? So is he saying that his question is admittedly shite because everyone asks it, or is he saying who's your favourite
Admittedly
shite wrestler? Because I don't really understand that.
I think because he's put it in before wrestler means who's your favourite shite wrestler? That's a bit harsh to say that about somebody as well, because everybody spots in their own way and what they're doing is for a purpose.
You're saying that, but the names that are flying through my head right now, there's a lot on there. There's a lot on there.
John Cena? No,
yeah,
kidding.
No. There's a lot of things. I've got like a couple of devils, and I've got a devil and an angel on the shoulder here. This guy's like, say his name. Say his name now. This guy's like, Jason, you can't say his name. You're on a podcast. Everyone's going to watch this.
Don't want to be detrimentally in the future.
Exactly. My favourite shite wrestler is Jason Reed from 2019. I thought he was amazing at the time, but yeah, he was admittedly shite. So that's my answer.
Love that. Who's one wrestler, past or present, that is well liked that you just never liked? I think I've already answered that for me.
That I never liked. What was given? So a wrestler that was good that I never liked.
Basically, one wrestler, past or present, that is well liked that you just never liked. So they could have been good, but you just never
never really got on board with it. Oh man, this is another difficult one because I like all the wrestlers.
That's what I'm saying. They've got in their own way what they're doing
is pretty good. Is good. Yeah. Oh man, this is difficult. This is really difficult. Okay, so and this is probably because I wasn't involved in wrestling at the time. And to be fair, now that I think about it, there's probably quite a few names, but I never used to, when I watched wrestling before I started wrestling, this is a weird name, but Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro, so John Morrison now, Eminem, I used to really despise them, and it was because they were doing their job well.
Aye.
So if I think about it now, I like them. I would like them now if I was watching it because they're amazing.
Aye.
I think Joey Mercury is one of the best, has one of the best wrestling minds on the planet, hands down.
Aye.
Like the stuff I learned from that guy was mental. But yeah, at the time, I used to hate them because I just didn't like them.
Aye.
But you know, so that's the best answer I can give you on that one.
Mine's Stevie Richards. Mine's Stevie Richards. See when he was doing that censored thing, right? Know why they were doing that, because WWE were trying to move to a time of where it was just free for all. You could do what you like, including having the Godfather with hose and all that, which you would never get away with now.
No.
So you know, Stevie Richards for me, I thought as a young boy at the time, you're spoiling my fucking viewing.
I don't really appreciate this, Mr. Richards.
I don't appreciate what you're doing here. So
definitely.
Selfishly, I probably say and your first memory of watching wrestling?
It's another difficult one. You know, I get asked this. I don't get asked the first memory of wrestling, but it's always like, I guess it is the first kind of wrestling match you watched. And see, when other people go on podcasts, they're like, boom, it was this match. It was like the 5th of December, 2001, at 7:15, like finished school. I'm like, how do you remember that? Like, how? I don't know. I don't know what my first memory of wrestling is. I had a friend at high school it was before that. My first memory, and this is weird, when Eddie Guerrero passed away, that was probably my first my first proper memory of wrestling, because after that I went back and watched it before then, and watched all the older stuff. But that was the first time I was in like primary, definitely in primary school, because I remember hearing about it when I was at the lunch hall in the assembly hall or whatever. I remember it, and then I kind of then spoke to my mate who was big on it, and he gave me like loads of WCW tapes and stuff, and old wrestling tapes and DVDs. So probably around then, that was probably the first thing that sticks out in my mind. And then obviously watched all the ones before then and kind of caught myself up, I guess. But yeah.
My earliest memory was when Undertaker kidnapped Stephanie.
Yeah.
That was my first.
That was great, man.
And then Stone Cold came in and rescued her, if you like, as he did.
Exactly.
And that was my first. When I think back now, and by the way, it was the same as yourself. My pal had says to me, "Listen, have you watched the wrestling?" And I'm going, "No, I don't know that."
Exactly.
Really, yeah. And then I watched it, but he was actually watching WCW at the time.
Yeah.
And I found WWF, as it obviously was then. And then I kind of says to him, he came into me the next day and said, "Did you see this?" I'm going, "No." And I thought, must be a different thing I'm watching. So then he found out, he's like, "Who was in it, mother?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't really know their names." I'm like, "Some big scary dude, like a pure dark guy." He's like, "Undertaker, aye, that right. You're watching WWF." And then the two years eventually just started watching WWF every week.
And I'm so jealous of anyone who like grew up during that time that watched it like on a weekly basis. Because obviously I've watched it all, but I've watched it all because I'm watching stuff back.
Aye.
Like I'm just so having that on the telly. Like
I was too young though, really to understand it, but that is the main memory that sticks out when I think back is amazing. Undertaker kidnapping. Yeah. In fact, I watched the Raw probably 2 months ago. I watched the Raw where Stephanie returns, where he brings Stephanie out and Stone Cold jumps in and whatever, not long ago. And the thing that I get for it is the whole night. And maybe it's because the crowd haven't been there for so long, but the whole night the place is electric. And it might just be the fact that we're used to watching it now with that electricity there. Maybe that's what it is. But that's what jumped out. Yeah,
that'll come back, I reckon, man. It was like watching the football, you know, throughout the Euros and stuff. When teams are scoring, it's absolute limbs. It's going to be the same. Wrestler's going to get a pinfall and it's just the roof's going to explode, man. I can't wait.
People are going to get a pop that have never had a pop before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Oh, God, amazing. I love it.
There was another question there that came in. Now, we do have more, so this will be the last one and then we'll revisit it. But what's your Mount Rushmore of matches, of wrestling matches, and why?
Matches.
That's quite difficult.
Okay, so first match is going to be Triple H versus Royal Rumble 2000. Triple H versus is it Cactus Jack or Mankind at that point?
Mate, it's the first match where I fell in love with Triple H.
Right, the hardcore match. Yep. Amazing. That is definitely on there because Triple H, I'm a huge fanboy for Triple H.
Yeah, me too.
Huge fanboy for Triple H. And, you know, when I eventually meet him, I'm going to tell him that.
And you're going to phone me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to tell him that and then I'm going to phone you.
Yeah. In fact, I've got a pop figure of him in that box there and I forgot to put it on the table.
You want that sign, bro? I mean, I could do that for you. I'll get that sign.
Yes, mate, I do.
Yeah. So that's on there. Let's do a bit more modern-ish era. So, Money in the Bank, John Cena and CM Punk.
Yeah,
the one where CM Punk walks out. Great.
Brilliant.
In terms of story, that's just amazing.
One of those ones, mate, as well, where you're going, is this fucking real? Is he playing up to this?
Exactly.
That was the whole thing for me.
Just so good, man. So good. Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon ladder match. First ever ladder match. That's on there because it's first ever ladder match. Watch it if you haven't. It's bloody great. And we need 4, right? Is there 4?
I think that's 4.
Okay, so the last one. There's so many to choose from. This is such a hard question.
I'm jotting Austin the Rock at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we'll go for that. There's just so many. Like I feel like it's unfair to only pick 4.
By the way, we've not picked a match involving the Undertaker.
Jeez, man. Right, so that the one with Shawn Michaels.
Taker, Shawn Michaels.
One of the best matches I've seen, hands down.
That's it finished. Oh fuck, no, it's not.
Like
that's it finished.
Unbelievable. Just like there was a podcast I was listening to, and I think it was with the referee that refereed that match.
Brilliant.
And it was just amazing. Like it was so good. And he was just talking about like the stuff. So you know how he does like the moonsault off and Taker catches him. Yeah. Like they didn't like rehearse that at all. Like just exactly, just like done it. And I'm like, that's just crazy, man. Like they were just so good. That set the. I'm sure who was it that was out after it? I'm sure Triple H was in the match after it with. I want to say this may be totally wrong, but I want to say Orton or something.
It might be.
And I'm sure I remember whoever it was. The two of them are watching it, and they were just like,
"How'd you follow it?
What are we going to do? Like, how on earth can we even go out there? Like, just amazing. Man.
It must be for you guys if you're backstage, obviously watching a match before you're ready to go and have yours, and they are absolutely killing it. You must be going, holy shit! How do we raise the bar again?
Do you know the thing is, right? See if someone goes out before and I'm going to use something like a move or whatever, and the match before uses a move, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Literally, the Undertaker and HBK went out and had the greatest match maybe of all time. I'm worried about some boys using an elbow drop, So yeah,
I know. It's just it's one of the things, as I said, even as somebody like yourself will have watched how many wrestling matches over life, and you think this is the beauty of me watching a lot of stuff now with my missus.
Yeah,
is that although she used to watch bits and bobs when she's younger, now she gets in it and she gets right into it, and that's what tells me that the magic is still there.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Because for us people, yourself. I hate saying it, but you can guess an ending sometimes. You can see it coming, and you go. And I try now to keep my mouth shut and no call it because don't get me wrong, half the time I'm wrong anyway. That's a fact. But on the occasion you do get it right, I think I'm spoiling that for her.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because we've maybe seen it a few times before, and the magic is still there for people who are maybe lost in it. And,
definitely, man, definitely. So it's the same. It's the same as anything. Like if you've already seen something for the first time, and then you're watching it again. Like I'm watching a couple of things with Mrs. We just watched. She's not seen Harry Potter, by the way. Ravenclaw. So Harry Potter mark over here, right? Seen Harry Potter a couple of times.
I don't know if you've seen mine before.
Yay! Cheap plug.
This is a wrestling t-shirt, by the way. And if anybody who's watching this will know Jason Reed the wrestler and will know that this is actually one of his.
Exactly. Correct. So, and I'd just like to say if Luna Lovegood's watching this right now, representing you, doll. She's Ravenclaw, right?
She's raving mad.
She is. So the point was, when you're watching something for the first time and you're watching it again with someone else, they're like, remember what it was like when you first watched it? This is so great.
Aye.
And it's the same thing, man. Like, when I was trying to bite my... this is so wrestling unrelated, but I got to tell the story, right? So have you seen all the Harry Potter films?
I'm a huge fan.
If you're watching Harry Potter for the first time and you haven't seen the last film, mute this now. Because so the bit where they go down to the little where the boats are stored, right? In the last one.
Yep.
And Snape's on the other side.
Yep.
Before it happened, I'm sitting there and I'm like, she's like, what's wrong with you? And then obviously what happens.
Yeah.
And then after it, I'm still like, she's like, how are you still upset? And I'm like, he's not put the tears in the tear in the thing yet. Like, you've no idea how deep this goes. So yeah, and it's hard, man. But yeah, I mean, the moral of the story, guys, if you've seen a finish before, going to just shut up and let your partner watch it. Exactly.
Because last night she's trying to go to bed and whatever, and I'm watching a wee bit of Raw, and it's Riddle's obviously winning the Battle Royal, and then and I'm saying, do you know what they might do here? They might make him win this, and then they might make Randy go in the match with him, and then they might make him, and then they might make Randy turn on him there, and she's like, why is he going to turn on him? I says, it's Randy fucking Orton. He's going to turn on him. Trust me.
Yeah.
And and I'm thinking, I'm spoiling this for her. Imagine when he does turn. She's going to be like, you're nice.
I know. Going to just give me the lottery numbers as well while you're at it, mate.
That's what I thought. That'll shut my mouth here.
Yeah. No, definitely.
But going back, obviously we're in the midst of a unique era with wrestling, as you've hinted to, with the pandemic stuff and how it's changed, even how we watch it. See screens there, see people been sitting there with mad signs and flags still up to the job. It's just, and also it must be weird for the wrestlers as well, because, for instance, the big chant is Roman sucks getting played on something like this. That's pre-recorded. And I feel sorry for them, because you're going, he would be able to feed off that energy, a crowd actually hating him. Do you know what I mean? it's so tough to know. But going back to eras before, you've kind of mentioned there, obviously Eddie Guerrero, and when Eddie Guerrero was at his height in WWE, if you like, SmackDown was incredible, right? It was unmissable. What has been your favourite era through watching wrestling? What's been your favourite?
Man, these questions are so hard today. They're so hard. Oh man, I don't know. Like, I can pinpoint highlights from all of them. Like, when I first started watching wrestling, it was like, mid 2000s, late 2000s. So that for me is like a highlight, because that's my first memories in wrestling properly. But then I've watched all the old stuff back, and like, the Attitude Era is so hard to, like, if you're comparing eras, that is just off the chain. It's just mental. And then even like this kind of small phase after that, like 2004, 5-ish, like it's just unbelievable, man. So yeah, that whole time period for me is just great. Like, you can literally put a pay-per-view on pretty much any pay-per-view throughout those years, and it's going to be great. Like, you can just put anything on and just watch it.
Yeah.
It's great. And I mean, to your point, Eddie Guerrero, he just excelled on, like, even before his working elsewhere, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
And when he came to WWE, he just excelled. And yeah, there was so many people like him through that time period that were just unbelievable. Like, we have no idea how lucky we were to watch all of that talent at the same time on the same show. Crazy. So
have you seen The Untold with him and Ray?
No, I don't think I have.
Mate, you see one of their matches for WCW, early doors.
Yeah.
Just incredible. And obviously you don't see the full match, but you see the best bits of it and whatever. And then their friendship growing, and then feuding on screen. Yeah. Things like that, with the whole Dominic thing and all that. And it was just absolutely brilliant to watch that and get to sad, obviously very sad. When you see Ray, usually when you watch Untold, if anybody's no watched Untold, you'll get both sides of the story. There's a wee bit Eddie talks about Ray. Obviously, it's predominantly Ray, and it must have been so hard for him to go through that himself as well. There, go through all the memories and stuff. But it was just what a worker he was as well.
So good, man. I think I've watched the match you're on about in WCW. I think it's just like a standard match they have. I actually had it on as part of a sort of study session, and it's just so good. Like, it's just great. Just two absolute workers. It's just unbelievable. If it's the same one, I can't really remember the date or the show. I think it's just like a regular WCW match. But
I think it is.
Anyone that's not seen it, you got to go and watch it. Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable.
There's people messaging yourself on Instagram with questions, and with the fact we've not got anybody else here, I think getting these questions it's been quite good. Matt Nero Wrestling says, how did you arrive at your current gimmick, and what did you learn along the way?
Okay, so current gimmick, how did I arrive at it? Opened the cupboard, seen a bunch of blue tops, bar scarves,
thought, fuck, I'll get away with this.
Other memorabilia, shall we say. No, in all seriousness, found out I was going to be working with Coach Tripp at ICW. And I was really conscious that Coach had a lot of talent that he worked with before me. Polo Promotions, most successful tag team in ICW history. Obviously, Jackie Pole, world champion at ICW. DCT, world champion. Mark Coffey. I mean, all these guys now, apart from DCT and Jackie are obviously with WWE. So there was a lot of pressure on me. So I wanted to get it right, and we were thinking for ages about what we could do. And we both have in common that we're huge Rangers fans.
You don't know that?
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, someone told me I portray it well. But we wanted to be different. No one else does anything like that. We knew hands down it was going to get a reaction, and it does get a reaction. Like it drives. We get engagement from lots of different people and platforms. Like on Twitter last night, there was an engagement from 4 Lads Had a Dream Twitter, and it just drives the engagement through the roof. Like I got like 89 or something followers on the back of they tweeted or replied to one photo because I referenced something they put in their blog.
Yeah.
So it's things like that just helps increase the brand, and in turn that helps increase ICW's brand, and in turn that helps create better content for WWE and Peacock TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the how we got to it. And what did we find along the way? People really, really hate it. Some people like it. I honestly don't care. If people boo me, amazing. And that's pretty much it. I found out along the way that it's a challenge to, I guess, keep content out there and keep things the same but change it. But it works, and we're going to keep moving forward with it. So yeah.
The thing is, as well, mate, is there is no such thing as a bad reaction, if you like. Probably the worst reaction when you go out is nobody says anything.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're getting booed, you're getting some form of reaction. The
worst thing that you can imagine is going out and just silence. You know, I've been at shows where, you know, you're backstage ready to go out, not ICW obviously, but shows, and you're peeking through the curtain and you can count how many people are there.
Yeah,
like that's, and then you go out and they're just like, like, what am I doing wrong? But then you have to experience that to understand how to get to the other end of the spectrum, you know. So yeah,
and I suppose that's something that comes easy to you as well, because it is, well, that's what you are at the end of the day, as a Ranger supporter. So
yeah,
so that is an easy part of your character to portray on screen, and also to get across and be pushed over on the other side as well, which I suppose is what we all want.
Exactly.
Next one, dream opponent, past and present.
Oh,
very demanding, isn't it?
They're very demanding, yeah, very demanding. Okay, so dream opponent, past, present. Triple H, 1,000,000%. I don't know whether he falls into past or present, because you could argue, you know, he's probably going to wrestle again. So he can be somewhere in the middle, I guess. And past wrestler, Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, 100% Eddie Guerrero. Just so good, man. Just so good. He'd fly about. I'd be bumping all over the place for him. It'd just be great, man. It'd be great. And Randy Orton too, if I can put in a third one.
So you just need to get a scooter, mate, and you're fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shoot, bro.
Mega chilled. Yeah.
So if I can become Vince McMahon for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose Triple H as well, but NXT, sign Jason Reed.
Yeah.
Right? Have him on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't change his persona at all. Right? Leave it. Get that put over in America. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then let him wrestle Triple H for a contract. How good would that be? The stakes, everything. I'd be sitting like that.
I can see it, man. I can see it. Triple H is telling me that I don't belong.
Yes.
You know, keep your soccer over there.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, we don't care about that over here in Florida or whatever. I'm going to put a stop to this once and for all. Right, fine. You know, I'll let you put a stop to it, but here's a stick. Here's the deal, right? If I win, you got to sign me.
Oh, man. That'd be brilliant, man.
That's it, man.
Imagine you and Drew going after the tag team titles or not.
That's it. Exactly. Sheamus comes in with interference and does me in. Triple H beats me. I have to come back here.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
There's another question that I suppose is quite funny.
Oh dear.
But we'll ask it anyway, right?
Okay.
How many days before a show do you fake tan so it doesn't ruin the match?
You know, I just say, right, I've been looking at this screen, and I don't know if it's because I'm right under this light, but I look mad pale, man. This is not a true reflection.
No.
It's not a true reflection. I don't actually fake tan, believe it or not, podcast universe. This is real. I need to pay Indigo Sun a sum of money every month for minutes in order to go on mini holidays once or twice a week. And in turn, that gives me a nice healthy glow to the skin. So yeah,
it saves the mat.
The mat is safe. There was a time, so when we started filming ICW again, whilst we were still in restrictions and the sunbed shops were closed, and they'd been closed for the last year. I was sheet white, probably whiter than I look under this light. I was sheet white, and yeah, I mean, you've got to be tanned, man. Unless you're Seamus, you're proper built, you look good pale. I needed a tan, so yeah, I was reliant on fake tan, the night before. And it doesn't come off in the mat, mate. Come on. If you use the right tan, it doesn't come off, okay? You've got to get the good stuff.
And listen, the weather we've been having the last 2 or 3 days, nobody needs to go anywhere, let's face it. It's scorching out there.
Exactly. Unless you're sat under these lights and then that makes you think you need to go to the Caribbean for 65 weeks.
Aye, exactly. Going back to the network a wee bit, another thing that my missus has got me into, she'll kill me for saying this because it's not really her that's got me into watching this.
Same as in Mrs.
That's exactly what I'm going to say.
Yes!
I love that man.
How good is it?
How good is it? And not in a day with the fact as well his wife's smoking hot to look at, but I like him.
Yeah, he's good, right?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And she loves it every night. She's like, put on another episode of that. I'm like, yes. It's
great. I love it, man. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I think it's great. It's really funny, actually. Like, I just enjoy watching it. I don't know if they have another season on there. They only had season 1 when I was watching it, but
2's on now. Oh. We're halfway through 2, and 3 hasn't been confirmed yet. But I believe the figures are that good. They're saying online that they can't know.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I really just live vicariously through him. He's sitting in his mansion with his cars and stuff. But no, he's the epitome of hard work, man. Like, he started off, he had his struggles, and I just love it, man. They're good to watch. Cool.
Forgetting
family.
his lines, mind.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Oh man, that is brutal. But do you know what? So many people would have probably not even come back after that, and now look at him.
He's just incredible.
Yeah.
I love as well the fact that he names his hussies after him.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Castle Marmez.
Yeah,
and all that.
exactly. Yeah.
Man.
When the only worry you have in life is what to name your next house, things are good, man. Things are good.
I love it as well when he goes to Texas and just because he's down about in golf buggies, he just decides, I'll get a golf buggy, but I'll fuck awesome all the other side.
Yeah,
nobody know who you are, mate.
Such a pop. Do you know the best thing about that? So obviously up sticks and moved to Texas. We're there for like however many months. We're like, nah, you want to just go back to LA? I really like it here, to be honest. So I just love it, man. I love it. He's so good to watch.
Love it. So good to watch. We're just about kind of getting there, mate, for episode 2. I think we should maybe pick another wrestler each for our King of the Ring thing before we get there. So, if I remember correctly, Simmy picked Bret Hart. Mm-hmm. You picked Randy, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I picked Triple H.
I think. Yeah.
So I would have picked Triple H, I think.
Okay.
So if we're going to do an R1 each, and that takes us to 5, we were going to do 8 in total. Mm-hmm. So we can give Simmy and Baz a go and you're selling our pick, right? But who would your next pick be?
John Cena. Because you've riled me up, mate. You have. You've riled me right up.
And goes like,
tell me you don't like John Cena, man. Huh?
I'm going to have to go with the man, The Miz.
Yes.
I'm going to have to go with the awesome, the must-see. Yeah.
We'll take that.
I'm going to have to go for him because he's incredible. And just quickly, that's before we finish. When Randy was doing stalking John Morrison, and he takes out the dripstick. I was in tears. I
love it.
Tears
I love it,
you can
man.
see them as his face like,
yes.
He's just so much fun at his work, and it comes across.
You've got to have a laugh at your work. You do. You do.
Saying if I go into students and start
just do it and see what happens.
Might end up sacked, but
do it and see what happens. If anything happens, then start a GoFundMe on the podcast. See what happens.
Episode 2 just about wrapped up. Hopefully episode 3 won't be as long because as we've said at the start, mate, we've now got our studio here, which again, thanks to G4 Claims. We've also got Money in the Bank and Hell in a Cell, SummerSlam coming. Mm-hmm. So we really need to get in about that because I think it's going to be epic with the crowds coming back and things like that. I've also got tickets for SmackDown in September. Well, it's the WWE Live Tour. It's the SmackDown side of things in September, and I'm taking my wee boy who's 4 to his first ever wrestling gig.
How exciting, man.
Which I think will be brilliant.
Yeah.
He's just getting into it. I sent you the picture of him with the belt.
Yeah.
He's just getting into it. He's got all my figures, and they must be 25-year-old. I gave them to a guy who I worked with. When his wee boy was younger and getting into it. And he added to them and kept all the figures to give them back to me.
Amazing. I love that, man.
So I've had the wee man, and he's now running about with a Triple H who's still Hunterhurst Helmsley.
Yeah. Wow.
What other ones is there? There's millions of them there. I've still got JR.
Big JR.
In the desk, the commentary desk, where you can put them through and it snaps. Yes, that's amazing. Right. I've still got, remember the Titantron that had the magnetic bit in the bottom of the feet?
Yeah.
I had that. I've still got that. And I've got Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon who still have the
amazing.
Amazing. They go in and place their fuck.
Man, I love Vince McMahon's my favourite. Like, he's just, I just love a bit of Vince, man. Well, I should have put him in the King of the Ring. Maybe
you still have one more. So.
Okay, I might put Mr. McMahon in next. I actually seen a video of him squatting a lot of weight, man. That man is just unbelievable. Was he like 79 years old?
Nice.
And he's just an absolute machine, man.
Is he not as well? Did it not come out today that he's actually going down to the performance centre to replenish the talent?
Yes, on tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Which is, well, gutting because obviously I'm here in Wishaw. And
but
yeah.
EasyJet or fucking BA, what is it we can do? Nicole, make that work as well, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, mate, the dream is for you to go over there and be part of WWE, and hopefully, mate, you'll be able to realise that.
I'll still do these podcasts.
Well, that'd be good, mate. You'll just be on the screen.
I appreciate
it. My thanks to Jason Reed for coming out in his busy schedule.
Thank you.
And coming here and
thanks for accommodating my totally unrelated stories of Harry Potter, Breaking Bad, everything else in between. It's been a great laugh, to be honest.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is.
And thanks to you guys who watch, because if you don't watch, you don't get the chance to do these.
Exactly.
And it's really good to get here and talk wrestling in Scotland rather than football, which is usually what dominates us.
Right, exactly.
So thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Hopefully it won't be as long.